نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فاستفتهم أهم أشد خلقا أم من خلقنا إنا خلقناهم من طين لازب بل عجبت ويسخرون وإذا ذكروا لا يذكرون وإذا رأوا آية يستسخرون وقالوا إن هذا إلا سحر مبين أإذا متنا وكنا ترابا وعظاما أإنا لمبعوثون أو آباؤنا الأولون قل نعم وأنتم داخرون فإنما هي زجرة واحدة فإذا هم ينظرون وقالوا يا ويلنا هذا يوم الدين هذا يوم الفصل الذي كنتم به تكذبون احشروا الذين ظلموا وازواجهم وما كانوا يعبدون من دون الله فاهدوهم إلى صراط الجحيم وقفوهم إنهم مسؤولون ما لكم لا تناصرون بل هم اليوم مستسلمون. Respectful honorable friends, in the verses that have been recited, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, having previously, in the previous verses, mentioned some of His qudrat in how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created the angels and how the angels carry out the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That Allah ta'ala is Rabbus samawati wal ard, Rabb of the heavens and the earth. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decorated the sky with stars. Having mentioned this to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in these verses now, mentioned with regards to the hereafter and with regards to the aqidah of the hereafter. In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where there is a need, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala proves certain things academically, and there are times when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala logically proves things as well. And that is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does so here with regards to the belief in the hereafter. As the mushrikeen of Makkah, they did not believe in the hereafter. The people of the book, the Jews and the Christians, still believed in the hereafter, but the mushrikeen, for them, it is just life here in this world. So there was no concept of the hereafter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions here that فَاسْتَفْتِهِمْ أَهُمْ أَشَدُّ خَلْقًا أَمْ مَنْ خَلَقْنَا إِنَّا خَلَقْنَاهُمْ مِنْ طِينٍ لَازِبٍ. That when the disbelievers, and specifically here the mushrikeen, when they pose this question and they object, that how would it be possible for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to resurrect people on the day of Qiyamah, then فَاسْتَفْتِهِمْ, ask them, أَهُمْ أَشَدُّ خَلْقًا, that whether their creation was more ashaddu, difficult, amman khalaqna, than the other things that we have created. Inna khalaqnahum min teenil lazib. Indeed, we created them from clinging and sticky clay. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that one of the objections that they had is that when a person has now died and the body has now decayed and there's nothing left, how will Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala resurrect people on the day of Qiyamah when there is nothing left of them? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, look, that which we have already created in the form of the heavens and the earth, which Allah Ta'ala mentioned in previous verses, and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the stars, and then how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala repelled the shayateen from entering the heavens. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created something as huge and mighty as this, then ask them, meaning those who are opposed to this, which would be more greater and which is more extreme. Making the heavens and the earth and creating the heavens and the earth doesn't mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just created the heavens and the earth and nothing at all in between. It means everything else in between. Is that, and accomplishing that, is that more difficult, or creating mankind? Mankind, the creation of mankind physically isn't something that is so great compared to that of the heavens and the earth. So فَاسْتَفْتِهِمْ, ask them, أَهُمْ أَشَدُّ خَلْقًا, that are they more difficult to create, or أَمَّنْ خَلَقْنَا, or that which we have already created. And إِنَّا خَلَقْنَاهُمْ مِنْ طِينٍ لَازِمٍ, whereas insan has been created from what? Allah Ta'ala has created them from min tinin lazim. Teen means clay and lazim means sticky clay. And why Allah Ta'ala says min tinin lazim is that sticky clay is easier to mold and easier to use. And teen lazim is that mud, rather than sand, mud, that which is mixed with water. So insan has been created from min teen lazim. So in comparison, min teen lazim is a lot weaker, a much weaker substance compared to that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created, the other creation that Allah ta'ala has made. And here where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّا خَلَقْنَاهُمْ مِنْ طِينٍ لَازِمٍ, even this refers to the original, meaning said in Adam alayhi salatu salam, and from there insan has been created. Or if it means, and it can even mean towards each individual. Because each individual at the end of the day, if we are not directly made from clay, because you may wonder that, look, the mothers are not told to do what? Pour down some clay and have some clay so that that clay can be used in the womb to create insan. They didn't gulp a whole lot of clay down also. So if that isn't the case, but then part of the creation of mankind is that they need food. And food is something which grows on the land, and that is what comes from what? From clay anyway, it comes from soil and sand anyway. So the original roots, whether it is the sustenance, the food that we consume, that is from teen lazim. And if it goes back to Sayyidina Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, then Sayyidina Adam alayhi salatu wasalam was created from sticky clay, from this min teen lazim. بَلْ عَجِبْتَ وَيَسْخَرُونَ. Now when the mushrikeen of Makkah would disbelieve in the hereafter, despite all these ayat and the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and when they would mock Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam with regards to this, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to look at them a bit puzzled, and Nabi would be surprised that, why do they can't believe something as simple as this when Allah Ta'ala is capable and Allah Ta'ala has created so much in front of them. Then what's there not to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Not being able to do this, that's impossible. So Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to be astonished to it, to which Allah Ta'ala says, بَلْ عَجِبْتَ, you are surprised. Whereas they, the disbelievers, are وَيَسْخَرُونَ. Whereas as they mock, meaning they are just about mocking deen in Islam, that's all that they are doing. It's not that they do not understand, and it is a case of they do understand, but they still want to make a mockery of deen. Or it's a case of they do not want to understand. Not that they can't understand and comprehend these things. They don't want to, and when they can't do so, then what do? You start mocking, isn't it? And this is exactly what the disbelievers did then, and even now as well. What do people do? If they can't on an academic level challenge Islam and the commands of Islam and Muslims, and the only thing they can do is mock Islam, make a mockery of deen in Islam. So that if they make a mockery of deen in Islam, then others will also then become disinclined towards Islam. So وَلَجِبْتَ وَيَسْخُرُونَ, you are surprised as they mock. And وَإِذَا ذُكِّرُوا لَا يَذْكُرُونَ, that when they are given advice, la yadhkurun, they do not take heed. They do not listen to the verses of the Qur'an and the warnings of Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam. وَإِذَا رَأَوْا آيَةً يَسْتَسْخِرُونَ. And when they see an ayah here means a miracle of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, then what do? يَسْتَسْخِرُونَ. They begin to ridicule. And they say, وَقَالُوا إِنَّ هَذَا إِلَّا سِحْرٌ مُبِينٌ. They say this is nothing but clear magic, meaning the miracle of Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam. So here the word ayah refers towards, ayat means sign here. And here ayat refers not towards the verses of the Qur'an, but it refers towards a sign towards what? The prophethood of the Nabi of Allah sallallahu ta'ala sallam, which is in the form of a miracle. There are those who reject miracles. And there are those deviant sects as well, who believe that the only miracle sent to Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was the Qur'an. Other than that, there is no such thing as Nabi Sallam never carried out any other miracles. Whereas there are books written on the waqi'ah, the incidents, and the books just compiled on the miracles of Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. And here they regard, but the fact that Allah, that He says ayah refers towards a miracle, they take this to be, that ayat here refers towards what? The ayat of the Qur'an. Whereas, if this was referring towards the ayat of the Qur'an, then why would they say, وَقَالُوا إِنْ هَذَا إِلَّا سِحْرٌ مُبِينٌ, that this is magic? You'll only say magic to something which is physically carried out in front of you. If the verse of the Qur'an, it is something which you do what? You listen to the Qur'an. That's whenever that is mentioned, Allah Ta'ala will utilize the word listening to the Qur'an, because the Qur'an, which is also an ayat miracle, but the Qur'an is something, the ayahs of the Qur'an is something that you listen to. And here Allah Ta'ala says, وَإِذَا رَأَوْا, when they see. So you do not see the verses of the Qur'an, you listen to the verses of the Qur'an. We have seen the verses of the Qur'an, but the verses of the Qur'an were not written at that time. So they would listen to the verses of the Qur'an recited by Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam. So listening is used where the verses of the Qur'an are used. And here where ra'aw indicating towards them actually physically seeing the miracles of Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam. But then instead what they would do is when they would see a miracle, they would begin to ridicule it. And why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the Anbiya with various miracles is because the Anbiya, they would tell the people what the message is from the heaven, that this is the message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that wahi comes to us. So they wouldn't believe it. And many times they would challenge, and they would want to see a miracle. So through the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, permission of Allah ta'ala, the Anbiya alayhi salatu salam would carry out something which no human being would be able to carry out, which would be an indication that yes, they are a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the point of that is to show and prove to them that when we are able to do something like this, then all the more what we are mentioning and telling you about and warning you about, that is also something which is a reality, which is true. Because that information has come from the heavens, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just the way this ability to carry out a miracle has also come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, وَإِذَا رَأُوا آيَةً يَسْتَسْخِرُونَ. And what would they say? وَقَالُوا إِنْ هَذَا إِلَّا سِحْرٌ مُبِينٌ. And they say this is nothing but clear magic. And many occasions they themselves would ask, just the way on one occasion Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam walked past the Quraysh, and Abu Jahl was there, he asked, shows a miracle, we want to know if you are truly the Nabi of Allah. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to them, okay, ask what do you want? And at that time there was a full moon. So he said, split the moon in half. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam pointed towards the moon, and the moon split in half, in a manner in which they could see the Mount Uhud in between. In this way, the miracle was that everybody there had witnessed it and they had seen it. But despite that, then what did they say? Oh no, this is only magic, this is magic. This is sihrun mubin, this is clear magic. So they asked for it, and when it was produced, this is what they said. Whereas if it was clear magic, then none of them could break that magic either. Nobody could carry out, no other magician could carry out such magic. Just the way the magicians during the time of Musa alayhi salatu wasalam as well. As soon as they had left that, or they had dropped their sticks, which then became a serpent, and when Sayyidina Musa alayhi salatu wasalam dropped his, which then ate up and swallowed all the serpents that were there, those who were magicians, who knew the art and the skill of sorcery, immediately they acknowledged that, look, this is not magic. It's not magic, challenging magic at all, because they know they're in that field. This is not magic at all. This is something much greater than magic. This is something which has even broken our magic. And for somebody to be able to accomplish this on his own, this is not any sorcery, any magic whatsoever. So they acknowledged it, and they came into Tawheed. But the mushrikeen, for them, each time it was just a matter of making excuses. إِذَا مِتْنَا وَكُنَّا تُرَابًا وَإِظَامًا أَإِنَّا لَمَبْعُوثُونَ. And what they would mock is, they would say that will we be resurrected? Meaning that إِذَا مِتْنَا, after we have died, وَكُنَّا تُرَابًا, and we become dust, وَإِظَامًا, and bones, أَإِنَّا لَمَبْعُوثُونَ. Will we be resurrected then? This we did not long ago, towards the end of Surah Yasin as well, where Wa'il bin As had made this objection, that where he came with a piece of bone, crushed it in front of Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam, dry bone, and he said, what? Look, this is now destroyed, this crushed, so there's nothing left. When we have become like this, destroyed, and we become ashes as well, and we become dust, is Allah Ta'ala going to then resurrect us? So إِذَا مِتْنَا وَكُنَّا تُرَابًا وَإِظَامًا أَإِنَّا لَمَبْعُوثُونَ. That will we be resurrected after we have died and become dust and bones? أَوْ آبَاؤُنَا الْأَوَّلُونَ. Or is this what? آبَاؤُنَا الْأَوَّلُونَ, meaning, or will this happen to our early forefathers? So when they made this objection, Allah Ta'ala revealed to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that, قُل, say to them, Na'am, yes, that is the case. And when it will happen, then وَأَنْتُمْ دَاخِرُونَ. Then on that day you will be disgraced. Means that yes, here you are objecting to it, or here you are rejecting it, and not only just rejecting and objecting, but you are mocking it as well. So just say to them, now, yes. Why? Because all the proven evidence has been put forward as it is. And when all the proven that is there, then there's no need to go into further dialogue there. When they ask that, will this really happen? They say simple to them, yes, it will happen. And when it will happen, then وَأَنْتُمْ دَاخِرُونَ. Then you will be disgraced, because then you will be the ones who regret knowing that, look, the message was given to us, we were told, and these things were explained to us, but despite that we failed to accept, we didn't want to accept. So you will be disgraced on the day of Qiyamah. فَإِنَّمَا هِيَ زَجْرَةٌ وَاحِدَةٌ فَإِذَا هُمْ يَنْظُرُونَ. Now referring to the day of resurrection, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that what will it be? فَإِنَّمَا هِيَ زَجْرَةٌ وَاحِدَةٌ. That it will be a single zajratun shout. فَإِذَا هُمْ يَنْظُرُونَ. After which they will instantly stand up. And يَنْظُرُونَ, فَإِذَا هُمْ يَنْظُرُونَ, they'll be looking. So Allah Ta'ala says that on the day of Qiyamah, or on the day of resurrection, there will be a zajra. The word zajra refers towards when you shout at somebody out of admonishing them. That is used as zajra. And zajra actually comes from when a person has an animal, camel or a horse or so, and when that camel is sat and not moving, then the rider of it, the way he will yell at it or shout at it to get up, in whatever sort of language or so. So the sound that he makes to get it to move now, that is what zajratun means. So on the day of Qiyamah, Allah refers it to zajratun, which means the blowing of the trumpet. When the day of Qiyamah begins, when everything will be destroyed by the blowing of the trumpet, and then which will be the first blowing of the trumpet. And then on the day of resurrection, when there will be the second blowing of the trumpet. If Allah Ta'ala wanted to, there is no need for Allah Ta'ala to have a trumpet, that Israfil has to blow the trumpet and then people will be resurrected or Qiyamah will come. It will be just a command of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. And merely from the command of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, everyone will be resurrected. But Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala makes it in such a manner so that to show how awkward that day will be as well, and how frightening that day will be. That's the way you say to somebody nicely and politely, get up. And there is, get up. Now there's a big difference in that. And here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that the trumpet, because the trumpet, when the blowing of the trumpet is something which will frighten the people, and it will make a person astonished what's happening now. And the day of Qiyamah will come. And then on the day of resurrection, the trumpet will be blown again. And when it is blown again, then suddenly that sound is what will awaken people. And that's when people will be overwhelmed and shocked. What's happening here? And Allah Ta'ala says that's all it will be. A single blast of the trumpet. And that will be the arrival of the day of resurrection. And فَإِذَا هُمْ يَنْظُرُونَ. After which there will be instantly, they will be what? Yanzurun. They will be standing up to look. That they will be shell-shocked, in other words. And a person doesn't know what's happening, what did he just looking around at things. So they'll instantly stand up from their graves and they'll be shell-shocked, in other words. وَقَالُوا يَا وَيْلَنَا هَذَا يَوْمُ الدِّينِ. And that's when they will acknowledge and they will say, يَا وَيْلَنَا alas. هَذَا يَوْمُ الدِّينِ. This is the day of reckoning. Now that's when they will realize this is that day that was promised to us. It has come now. This is that day. هَذَا يَوْمُ الْفَصْلِ الَّذِي كُنْتُمْ بِهِ تُكَذِّبُونَ. And at that injunction they will be then told that yes, this is هَذَا يَوْمُ الْفَصْلِ. This is the day of fasl, meaning the day of decision. الَّذِي كُنْتُمْ بِهِ تُكَذِّبُونَ. That which you used to deny. So everything which they deny will become a reality. And the moment a person leaves and departs from this world, a person dies, that's when everything becomes a reality. That's why the moment, as Nabi Kareem mentioned in the hadith as well, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَقْبَلُ تَوْبَةَ عَبْدِهِ مَا لَمْ يُغَرْغِرْ. Allah Ta'ala accepts the tawbah of His servants until the point wherein yugharghir, meaning until his ruh now reaches his throat. Meaning because at that time now what he sees the angels of death. And when a person sees the angels of death, at that time, every person will become a Muslim, isn't it? So if there was still that point wherein you could still, then everybody will become Muslim. So there has to be a cut-off point. So now when you see death in front of you, and you see the reality in front of you, now it's too late. So from that moment, that is the moment wherein all of the things that the person had rejected then becomes a reality. احشروا الذين ظلموا وأزواجهم وما كانوا يعبدون. The angels will then be commanded to say احشروا, that assemble. Who الذين ظلموا? Those who have oppressed, the oppressors. وأزواجهم, and here oppressors meaning the disbelievers. Because every disbeliever is an oppressor. So here it doesn't mean that oppressor is in the zulm type of oppressor, where a person oppresses another individual. They are regarded as oppressors because they have oppressed themselves. That they have done wrong upon themselves by not believing in Allah Ta'ala. And the word zulm, which means what? وَضْعُ الشَّيْءِ فِي غَيْرِ مَحَلِّهِ. Zulm means to put something where it's not supposed to be. So anything that needs to be placed one place, you put it somewhere else. That placing in the wrong place is called zulm. And this is what they have done. They have put the aqeedah in the wrong place. They have believed in what they're not supposed to believe in. And not only that, but they are putting themselves in the fire of Jahannam. And Allah Ta'ala hasn't created insan for that purpose, but by means of their disbelief in Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, this is what they are doing. So in other words, they are oppressors upon themselves. So, أُحْشُرُوا الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا. Assemble the oppressors, meaning those who do not have iman. And along with it, وَأَزْوَاجَهُمْ. And their companions. And وَمَا كَانُوا يَعْبُدُونَ, whatever they worship. Here the word وَأَزْوَاج does not refer towards azwaj in the form of husband and wife. Because azwaj actually means, zawj means partners or pairs. It means pairs. You have pairs of many things. And because husband and wife become a pair, so for that reason they are also regarded as zawj, wazwajuh. Some mufassirin of that opinion that here wazwaj just means that the mushrikeen men, husbands, and when they are resurrected with them, their wives and their spouses will be resurrected with them. But here, according to majority of mufassirin, and also substantiated from the tafsir of Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala, here wazwajuhum means their companions. And companions here means what? Not their friends, there's normal friends here, but companions here means those who were their like. And their like means that those who were the adulterers, they'll be resurrected with the adulterers. That is what wazwaj means. Those who used to drink, they will then be resurrected with those who used to drink. Those who would steal, they would be resurrected with those who stole. Those who indulge in riba, they'll be resurrected with those who are indulging in riba. So whatever form of disobedience and sin or kufr they were in, so the I.T.A will be resurrected together, the mushrikeen will be resurrected accordingly. So they will be resurrected as the companions, meaning the like of the wrongs that they had done. And not only that, but وَمَا كَانُوا يَعْبُدُونَ, and whatever they worship, all of that will be all resurrected together. Meaning that even the deities, so that deity that they worshipped here in this world, that will also be resurrected with them. So they'll be standing there and the deities will be there. And that's when they will see that, look, now who you can ask? Isn't it? You're going to ring the bell then? What are you going to do now? You know, you're in water and you're made in Malta, you're made in China. Deity is also next to you there as well. Because Allah says, وَمَا كَانُوا يَعْبُدُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ, apart from Allah. Meaning that whatever they had worshipped besides Allah Ta'ala. Which shows here that just the way those who did wrong, they'll be resurrected together. Then on the other side as well, those who did good in this world, and those who had whatever good qualities, they'll be also resurrected with those with similar qualities, and they'll be resurrected with righteous people. So whoever we had, as Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned in the hadith as well, al-mar'u ma man ahabba, that a person will be resurrected with whoever they lived in the hereafter. And so Anas radiallahu ta'ala mentions that this is one of those hadith that brought about great pleasure to the Sahaba Kiram radiallahu ta'ala. Why? Because they always would discuss within them, and they would become a little disheartened that, look, here in this world, whenever we want to, we can come and see Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Whenever we want to, we can be in the company of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So we have access to Nabi Kareem sallallahu here in this world. Now, when in the hereafter we in Jannat, then Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he is going to be in his Jannat, and the Jannat is going to be in such a maqam, high place, abode. So we are not going to be in that same abode as the Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam. So, will we have access to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Will we be able to meet Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam? And them thinking such itself indicates, it just shows how much ishq, how much love they had for Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The true love that they had for Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That it wasn't a case of, fine, you showed us the way of Jannat, and fine, okay, million, it doesn't matter. We're getting into Jannat anyway. We're going to be in Jannat anyway, so we're going to enjoy ourselves there and see you later. But it was a case of what enjoyment is Jannat going to be without our beloved. That if we're going to be in Jannat, we choose for them. Being with Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala wasallam was more beloved to them than Jannat. That Jannat is going to be not Jannat. Jannat won't be so pleasurable if we're not going to be with Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. This is the ishq and the muhabbat that the Sahaba had for Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And when they had mentioned this and this concern of theirs, that's when Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that, do not worry, al-mar'u ma man habba, that whoever person lives here in this world, then in the hereafter they will be with them as well. They'll be with them. Meaning that, look, if you love me here, then you'll be with me in Jannat as well. Everybody will be in their level of Jannat as it is, but there will still be access to meet one another. You'll be able to know that then it's going to be like they're just exclusively there and he's exclusively there, whatever. But they will be able to meet. And Sayyidina Anas sallallahu ta'ala says that brought us a lot of pleasure and enjoyment. We became so happy hearing this hadith of Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam. So he shows us what? Let us love the right people here in this world. Because Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam does not say here that the righteous will be resurrected, the righteous alone, but Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying is what? That a person will be with whoever he loves. So if you love the right people, you'll be with them. And the right people mean the righteous people. Or the right people meaning Ashabi Yami, the people of the right. And if you here emulate, you follow and you love the wrong people, then on the day of Qiyamah you're going to be with them as well. And that is how detrimental it is. So many of our youth, so many of our youngsters, you'll see them, they come in a masjid as well, and they got football tops on. They've got their football shirts on. And on that they've got all sorts of different persons, personalities, players, names on it. And why do they have that for? Because they're fans of them, they like them, that's why, isn't it? So for that reason, whereas they're not any of them, isn't it? It's a bit silly as well, isn't it? Let that person have their own name t-shirt on, isn't it? So that's him, isn't it? You're not that person, so why are you having their shirt on you? So it shows that because you loved them so much, you want to carry their name on your back, isn't it? Ask yourself, are you going to carry the burden of Ronaldo on your back on the day of Qiyamah? Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to carry the mess of Messi on your back on the day of Qiyamah? If you're willing to do that, then fine, have their names on your back as well. Then cover their backs as well on the day of Qiyamah. Because that's what's going to happen on the day of Qiyamah, isn't it? That these are those who you love so much, so then some will say, okay, never mind, we'll change it, we'll just have Salah instead, isn't it? And that's not going to be of any use at all, isn't it? Because will you rather have Muhammad Salah or would you rather have Muhammad the Rasul of Allah sallallahu ta'ala sallam? Isn't it? And even if any of these become a Muslim as well, would you rather have them on your back or would you rather have the might and powerful Umar radiallahu ta'ala to cover your back? Abu Bakr Siddiq, Sayyidina Usman, Sayyidina Ali and the great companions of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam, which camp do you want to be in? And even if they all run away to Saudi Arabia, it doesn't mean that that's going to take them to Jannat either. Unless Allah Ta'ala grants them Iman and Hidayat, and Allah grant every such non-Muslim Hidayat. But even then, each one is there to face his own burden. So, this is the type of love that we express for these people here in this world. Whereas Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says that, look, these are the people that you're going to be resurrected with. So if those are the people that we want to be resurrected with, then by all means follow them, be fans of them and be mental over them, be crazy over them. Then on the day of Qiyamah, you'll be with them as well. Wherever they go, you'll go as well. Whether they film stars and actresses and they are all stars as well, but they're falling stars. Sahaba are guiding stars. They have different stars, isn't there? They are falling stars because they're going to fall. And the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala, they are those stars that do not fall, they are the guiding stars. So if a person wants to be with them, then emulate them, dress like them, have your hairstyle like them, and be however you want with them. And then this is how you will be resurrected on the day of Qiyamah. Very important. Al-baru ma man habba. And Nabi Sallallahu mentioned another hadith, man tashabbaha biqawmin fahuwa minhum. Whoever emulates any nation is going to be from them. So, just the way we also do, what do we do nowadays? Male and female as well, boys and girls. We want to emulate the fashion, the design, the dress code of who? Of those who are far from the deen of Islam. And we rather prefer their way of dressing, their style and their way of life over the way that we have already been given to us through means of the Sunnah of Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that which the Deen has shown us. So if we are going to emulate that, then on the day of Qiyamah we'll be also resurrected with them as well. Because this is how the extent that we go to. And just look how we have become and how we have, Shaitan has deceived us to such extreme, that we want to totally look like them. We want to totally change our features and look like them. Mean that even if we could change the complexion of our skin, we will all change the complexion of our skin so it will become gores. So that we will become white. And you see so many who are already changing their hair, isn't it? From black to bleached, blonde, isn't it? So, but you're not going to become a gori. You don't see men doing that, but you more the ladies doing trend among some of the ladies today. But you think you're going to become a gori? Pour as much powder as you want and foundation on top of you, on your face and that. But you're still going to be a paki. At the end of the day, isn't it? Have a blonde, have blue contact lenses on as well, grey contact lenses on as well, and dress like that as well. You're still going to be who you are, isn't it? Let the bleach dye out of it and wash all the foundation off, then what do you get? Isn't it? Your haqiqat is in front of you, your reality is in front of you, isn't it? You're not going to be able to change yourself, otherwise you're going to end up looking like Michael Jackson. Allah that has created you, what you are that. So this is how inferior we feel, and how you don't see any non-Muslims doing such as well, that don't let me become so dark that I look like an Asian instead. Or just for the sake of we start wearing our clothing or so. Whereas there are so many who like our clothing as well, who actually do like the clothing. And if you give them opportunity, they would, but out of respect, they feel, no, they don't want to start wearing our clothing because either think that others will taunt them, or they think that no, Muslims will become a bit offended by it, that we as non-Muslims are dressing like them. But give them the opportunity, and yes, they would like to try it out, they wouldn't mind. But we are at that extreme. Remember, these are those type of things that look, if whoever we emulate in such a manner, we will be resurrected with them on the day of Qiyamah. Have love for Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, have love for the Sahaba, the Sahabiyat. Have love first for the righteous people, the good people. Be amongst the righteous people. And even if we cannot become from the righteous, at least if we have love for the righteous, we'll be resurrected with the righteous. And this is one of the benefits and the bounties of being in good company, is like here, what happens here, Allah is mentioning that this is their companionship. These are the sort of people that they will be resurrected with on the day of Qiyamah. And if we are not from the righteous, but we wanted to be from the righteous, we had love for the righteous, on the day of Qiyamah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will shove us in the company of the righteous. Humul julasa la yashqa bihim jarisahum, Nabi mentions. That the righteous people are those that whoever have companionship with them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, their fortunes will become good. As in the hadith wherein it is mentioned as well, that when people are sat in the masjid, doing what? In the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hafatahumul malaika. The angels descend upon them and engulf them with their wings. And they seek forgiveness for them whilst they are engaged there. In the hadith of Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentions that a person then does what? A person just comes, but he comes for another purpose, not that he wants to be there. For instance, there is this gathering, for example, this type of gathering, the zikr majlis, or some ta'aleem taking place in the masjid. And there is another person, he comes into the masjid, but why he came into the masjid is because he forgot something on the windowsill, or he forgot something in the masjid. So he just came to pick up his jacket. So he didn't come for that purpose. So he just came there for that purpose alone. And then he went, or he just sat there, but he didn't really come for that. When Allah Ta'ala will be asked, what about that person? He didn't come there actually to be part of them. That's when Nabi Nabi Sallallahu says that whom julasa la yashqa, that person will also be forgiven. Why? Because of the forgiveness of those people who are remembering Allah Ta'ala. The person who came by mistake, he'll also be forgiven by Allah Ta'ala. So it just shows us that how important it is that we are in good company here in this world. Love the right people, make friendship with the right people. First of all, aim to be from the righteous. But if we fall short, at least if we are in a companionship with the righteous, we'll be resurrected with them on the day of Qiyamah. So Allah Ta'ala says, أُشْرُوا الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا وَأَزْوَاجَهُمْ وَمَا كَانُوا يَعْبُدُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ فَهْدُوهُمْ إِلَى صِرَاطِ الْجَحِيمِ, and lead them to the road of what? The blaze, the fire of Jahannam. So they will assemble with their companions, and what they worship besides Allah Ta'ala. The angels will be instructed to say to them that now lead them to the fire of Jahannam, and then whilst they'll be taken to the fire of Jahannam, وَقِفُوهُمْ إِنَّهُمْ مَسْئُولُونَ. Allah Ta'ala will then say that halt them, meaning that when they are on the path and they are on the way to the fire of Jahannam, on the Pul Sirat, that's what will be said to them, that they will be told that halt them. Why? For they will have to be questioned now. And then مَا لَكُمْ لَا تَنَاصَرُونَ بَلْ هُمُ الْيَوْمَ مُسْتَسْلِمُونَ. And they will be asked, مَا لَكُمْ, what is the matter with you now? That لَا تَنْصُرُونَ, that what is the matter with you? That you do not help each other. That here in this world you promise each other, and that your gods will be there to assist you, and you will assist one another. So what's happening now? مَا لَكُمْ لَا تَنَاصَرُونَ. Why are you not assisting your gods? Why are your gods not assisting you? Why as friends and partners in that? How come none and nobody is assisting anyone now? بَلْ هُمُ الْيَوْمَ مُسْتَسْلِمُونَ. But on that day they will have surrendered, meaning that they themselves will have surrendered, knowing that look, now it's apparent to them that nobody is going to be able to help anybody. They're now in that position wherein nobody's going to be able to help. So they've accepted that. Mustaslimun means surrendered, meaning they've accepted their folly. And they know that now neither can we help these deities of ours, and neither can these deities help us. So this is what the plight of those who do not have Iman. And further Allah Ta'ala next verses continues with mentioning that of the Akhirat. And the fact that we may believe in the Akhirat, we have the understanding of the Akhirat. This is what through the blessings of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. And that which surprised Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that why are these people not believing? So many times we see the practices of others and their faith, and we just wonder, but how can you be, worshipping in such a manner? Where is your intellect gone to? But this is because Allah Ta'ala has deprived them of that, and Allah Ta'ala has given us Iman. That's why we are able to see what their faults are, and we are able to see what is right and wrong. But this is a great bounty of Allah Ta'ala. If Allah Ta'ala wants, Allah Ta'ala can make us summun bukmun as well. Allah Ta'ala can make us deaf, blind and dumb as well. Allah Ta'ala save and protect us all. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.